my fan too loud?
Ooh, I hear that.
Is my fan too loud?
Let's see. What's going on, Jigs? Fired up, footballers.
Oh, we're started.
Yeah, we're on. I just started this live. This is a funky show. Live fan reaction for the new Crest. Wow. It's here. Right off the bat. Jiggly, what do you think?
It is the safest thing I've ever seen.
Let's get it on the board here for everybody. Well, first things first, slam that like button for us and Jiggly. Well, guys, well, I'm a little discombobulated. Let's start it off. Smash that like button for SPITTINGFIRE YT. It really helps trick the YouTube algorithms into transmitting Chicago Fire YouTube content out into the world. Greatly appreciate it. Today was the day that SPITTINGFIRE YT earned your subscription. Jiggly, great to have you here. And as always, we're supporting Section 8 Chicago's drive at the Chicago Food Drive. And if every dollar goes and helps support 3 meals, it's a fantastic initiative what they do there. And every dollar helps. We greatly appreciate anybody who can support them. Jiggly, so it's a safe move. Let's pull up this Crest and let everybody take a gander. Of course, it's in the description. But Chicago Fire just dropped it. I think Marty dropped it earlier, and all of a sudden, do you think that's what pushed it?
I don't know, but I think that it's very possible that it did add a little bit extra into how soon they threw it out.
Well, they had the video ready to go, which we have on the screen here for all our viewers if they're taking a look. No audio. And let me put the Discord invite for everybody in the chat for if everybody wants to come in and give their live reaction.
We do have the chairman of Section 8 ready and waiting.
Oh, cool, dude! If he wants to come in, I have this. I don't see anybody in the Discord, but it is ready to go. All I got to do is hop in there. Hop in the Discord, and then I'll bring them on live. I got it limited to 2 of us, so us and 1 other person, so that way we can try and keep it, so no. It's gonna be crazy. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but. Jiggly, I kind of like it. When I first saw it, I thought it was a little basic. I agree with you. It's a little safe route, but and at first, my first thought was, do I like it better than the old new Crest? And at first thought, I was like, now that I look at the old Crest, it has something weird about it. But all the same, this is much better representation of Chicago.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I think that the big thing about a lot of everybody who's kind of just meh about it, it's very much about it's not that, it's the bare minimum that they needed to do. They did exactly what they needed to do. They didn't do anything more. They just did what they needed to do.
Let me see how I can invite Mr. Chairman Man into our Discord discussion here.
You can just drag him in.
You can do that? I tried.
Yeah, just click and drag in.
I tried. Maybe I don't have that ability. Create invite.
Well, I mean, if you're in charge of the server,
view as
should.
role, dismiss. Okay, whatever. Let's see if I can get you in here, Chairman Man. This is the chairman of the Chicago of Section 8.
Yes.
Awesome. Let me add them or try and get them in. How do I get you in here? Jiggly, do you know how to do this Discord stuff?
Yes, but I don't think I have the permissions here.
I do. I gave them to you. I think.
Oh, I do. Okay.
Yes,
wait.
You should have every permission that I have. And if you don't, I'll make sure of it.
Yeah, I don't think I have the same permissions.
Okay. Well, let's make that happen. Roles, permission, members. We got Jiggly, we got Kyatsu, we got some people here. Jiggly, you are. How do I make you some sort of administrator? I don't know. Do I have Jiggly, this is a hard time to figure it out, but let's just start bringing people in. You're a Fire fan. You're a Fire fan. And I think that allows me to do stuff. You're a Fire fan. And maybe that. Yeah, boom. Now, all right.
There we go.
Chairman Man, welcome to the show. Sorry to drop you in like that. All of a sudden.
Are your mic working?
We'll give them a.
Okay.
They'll figure it out.
Give them a moment.
Give them a moment. Boom. Are they in contact with you?
What? No, they're about to type something into the chat here.
Cool. So everybody in the chat, though, if you want to hop on live, I'm going to be able to bring you on one at a time and let you guys get a couple minutes say on what you guys think of the new crest. Sorry for the slow going as I understand and get to know this. This is the first time kind of doing this little live Discord radio show. What do you think, Jigs?
We'll see what happens.
I am excited. Do I have other people in here? How do I invite people? Boom, boom, boom. It's already created. And how do I make sure you have all the permissions? Roles. Move to. I have to maybe create a permission. Anyway, let's move right along. I got stuff to talk about. Right away, the Soldier Field might be vacating right along as this new crest is being implemented. So this is big news. Chicago Bears put down a bid for Arlington International Racehorse, the awesome little horse raceway that's been going away. It's in its final year, and people have been wondering how this might impact the Chicago Fire. Brian Sandelau, friend of the show, tweeted out that he was kind of he noticed that the lack of people even mentioning this issue as a concern.
I think I said something about how like vaguely concerned I was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's first off, it's Soldier Field. If the Chicago Fire are the only tenants, they still might have other people interested in going to Soldier Field. It's still a prime destination. It'll still be a prime destination even without the Chicago Bears there, I believe. Okay,
we've got some people who are in. Okay,
they're in. I don't see anybody in the text channels.
And are you looking at general?
Oh, maybe I'm not. Oh shoot. Okay. Well, let's.
Yeah, in general.
I did not know that. Okay, how do I invite them? I can only invite one at a time, though.
I mean, I think you can bring in. Nick.
Who is Nick? Nick
Charge. The chairman.
Oh, he's live. All right, boom. Welcome to the show.
You got your mic working yet?
Yeah, you hear me?
We can hear you now. Fire it up, man. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Doing fine.
What do you think of this new crest? And who are you, by the way? Can you introduce yourself to the Chicago Fire fans?
Yeah, my name's Nick, man. Most of y'all know me as the chairman of Section 8 Chicago.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm under Worker Nickman22.
Oh, yep, that's awesome. I know.
Yeah, and Instagram under the same. Jedi Master Nick 22 on Instagram.
Well, fantastic. Great to have you on the show. Now, what do you think?
You know, I've been thinking about this since they introduced it, and it's better than the Crown, but it's still boring. It almost feels like they just took everything that people think about Chicago, threw it against the wall, and just went, okay, there we go.
Yeah, like very basic. Like, it looks like the Cubs logo. It looks like the Red Stars logo. Even looks like the Cleveland Indians logo.
You're giving me the impression it's milk toast.
Yeah.
You're giving me the impression it's a little too milk toast.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was thinking about it. Like, oh my God, they did ripped off the Cleveland Idiots. We'll never hear the end of this.
Really? You think that's like a Cleveland C?
It almost looks like a Cleveland C because if you look at like the Cubs or even the Bears, for example, and how they do their C, and then you look at Cleveland, which you could say Cleveland probably ripped us off, but it almost looks like that Cleveland C that you see with the Indians.
I wonder. I'm gonna try to look at some old Chicago insignias
I like
and see
the
if
way
we
that-
see anything like that.
I do like the way that they kind of connected the way that the sea looks, at least a little bit, with within the video where they had the grid system spell out the sea.
So-
Like that was kind of cool, I guess.
So the 1907 Chicago Cubs C kind of has these little frill attachments, 3 frill attachments, where this Chicago Fire emblem, this new one, only has 1. So, I mean, that's the only one I could see the influence really coming in. Right here, immediately.
I mean, they could have took like how the Chicago White Sox made their C's before they changed it to the current
Let's take a
logo,
look at
or
that.
how they do it with their away baseball
Yep.
jersey.
There's something similar. Yeah, they also have a similar C as well. Yeah, with with this little diamond check mark, pock mark in the middle of the C.
Yeah.
Do you guys compare it to the old crest? What do you guys think about? I mean, compare it to that. That's what we got to compare it to the new old crest.
Yeah, but let's just settle this. It's Fire Crown. Old Fire Crown is the one that we just had. Old Crest is the one that we all know and love.
The old crest, absolutely, yeah. Is this an improvement from the seemingly rushed, now new old crest?
Fire Crown.
The Fire Crown.
The light keeps right. Yes,
Yeah.
it's way better improvement. Way better. But still, it's still kind of boring.
It was a low bar to get across too. It was a low bar to get over.
Yeah.
At the same time, you could look to our the Columbus, who has recently just went undergo a big change as well, to see how far you can really pull that back and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we did. I mean, we did pull it back. That's what this is.
This is a severe pullback. It's very basic. It's 3 colors, white, red, light blue, and I know Tyrus.
The dark blue outline.
It's kind of reminiscent. Oh, and the dark blue outline. I guess there's 4 colors. It's reminiscent of the Red Stars in a certain way, but also maybe because Red Stars really embrace Chicago colors.
I mean, I said this. Oh, yeah, go on.
No, go ahead. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Red Stars really, when they made their crest, they really encompassed the city of Chicago. Like what we think about, one of the things we think about Chicago, mainly the flag. This one, it seems like, oh, let's copy off of them a little bit. Oh, let's copy off of the Cubs a little bit. Oh, let's copy off of the old Fire Crest a little bit. It's just they're copying things, and they just went, okay, here you go. Like it's like they're like, it seemed like they were trying to be bold a little bit, but they're playing it way too safe.
I think that I don't know. I think we've always said on Twitter about how much like the Fire need to learn from the Red Stars and how much better the Red Stars have been doing. Like, Justine Freud came over from the Red Stars to the Fire, like a wonderful member of like the kind of PR area of the Red Stars, came over to the Fire recently. So, I mean, it seems like the Fire are just trying to be the Red Stars because they notice, oh yeah, the Red Stars are doing a whole lot better.
Could be something said for that. What do you think, Burger Man Nick?
Yeah, I mean, they're seeing the success that they're having, which is great, especially for soccer in this city, because they're one of the few winning soccer teams in the city, or one of the few winning teams, period, in the city. And
moment.
Yes. Well, yeah. Now the White Sox and the Chicago Sky are doing better in the Cubs, but it's telling you how much their community engagement is, and how the good things that they're doing over there. So they're just like, okay, let's just try to do something that they're doing with just this logo. There's a lot of things that they could be copying from the Red Stars, which in terms of how they select their players, fan engagement, multitude of things. But it's like, okay, we'll just copy off their logo and let's go from there.
Hey, one positive thing to be said, though, which I just thought of, was the fact that They didn't put out a crest explanation.
I mean, they kind of did.
What with the video?
Yeah, they said exactly what they said that the supporters wanted,
Chicago Fire.
and that's kind of works at the crest as the crest explanation that they have. You know.
Well, I guess you're right, but you know, you know what I'm talking about, where
Well, yeah,
Austin FC
like-
goes and says, "Oh, this is the roots of the tree, which are forever unable to be pulled out by the likes of you," or whatever it is, you know.
I always thought that Austin City Crest was like them trying to stick it to the Portland Timbers, but that's just me.
It is
Trying
wood.
to stick it to Oakland roots.
Well, it could be, yeah, or the roots or the timbers, because you think, oh, we got trees. What do you think? Oh, we'll cut them down.
I'm gonna think about what I like about this crest. So let's see. Do I like this color scheme? I like this color scheme. Dark blue, light blue.
Well, there's not much you can
white,
do.
Red. You guys like the color scheme? Check, right?
Yeah,
There's not
yeah,
much-
I like that one.
That's
Yeah,
check.
there's not much you can do to really, because one of the things that I said when Claire on Twitter, one of the amazing Red Stars journalists, when Claire said on Twitter about how much the new Fire logo looks like the Red Stars logo, I mean, I said there's not really much you can do different wise that is going to do something new with the flag. You have these materials here. There's not very many things you can do.
Right.
I'm gonna look at the old crest, but so what about now? Let's move on to the inner blue, the light blue, Florian. It's the closest that they're gonna get to the Florian cross. This. Are you guys like this like weird badge Florian type of blue cross thing that we see going on here?
I mean, the thing is that it's not about whether we like it or not. It's fine. It's completely fine. I think both Nick and I agree on this. That it's just, it's fine. It's
Gives
not
me,
anything new. It's just fine.
Like for me, it makes me think about like I don't know. It makes me think about pipes and water and I don't know Chicago waterway. I don't know. There's things going on here in this crest that just subtle little things. Then
Oh no,
you got,
do we look like cops now?
and then you got the Chicago. Then you got the Cleveland Sea, but really it's maybe the Chicago Sea, what maybe Cleveland ripped it off from. I don't.
Yeah. We had it first. Cleveland ripped it off of us.
And there you go. And then in the center, you got the Chicago Star. I mean, and you think about 4 of these patches next to each other. You got the 4 stars of Chicago. You can make something out of that. There's little things here that could be done. I'm liking it. Very minimalist.
I think I'm agreeing with a lot of people on Twitter right now who are saying just remove the outer blue circle. Not the
Yeah.
Florian cross, but the circle.
The outer blue, the dark blue circle.
Yeah, it'll pop a little bit more. Like I understand, like this process, people had brought up blue, not as much as red, because I'm glad that they're bringing back red, and the next year's home kits will be red. But yeah, a lot of people constantly mention blue, so I guess that's why they're keeping that circle and why it was blue.
And I think that a lot of people mentioned blue because of like leading questions. Because I remember back when you guys remember the survey that they put out like 3 years ago or something like that, where they sent it to all the season ticket holders, a survey of like what is most important to you about the team, and very leading question of like what is the most important color to this team. Of course, second is gonna be blue because that's what's been on the jersey anyway. You know.
For
So-
me, it's just the men in red. I think for me, it's just that's the most important color. Is the basic? What is that basic one? I don't know
Well,
about
yeah.
the secondary color.
Exactly. That's why it's kind of a leading question, because they had you rank it instead of just saying, this is what I want. And then, of course, there's the other issue of a lot of, I think the one thing that we have about since the actual rebrand, well, since the original rebrand back in like November of 2019, of do we need to have FC on it? Or at least instead of football, soccer club? Because that's the one. This is like my one story about actually having an interaction with Andrew Hauptman at like an Ante Razov party right before he was inducted into the Ring of Fire. I actually got to talk to Houtman about this, and or at least talk to him about the way he'd been running the club. And the one thing that he said, like, this was the one thing that he was like, I did a good job on this, which was keeping it with as Chicago Fire Soccer Club. And what by the time he leaves, it is now Chicago Fire Football Club, and that just doesn't work in America.
I don't know. It's not, to me. It's not as big a deal. There's more things than the name that are the reason why the Chicago Fire are not working in Chicago, and why some people said, they're the team in MLS MLS could function without, surprisingly, a functioning Chicago team for years. So.
Well, I mean, for years, the Fire could function without a functioning MLS, to be honest.
But, what goes into this rebrand is trying to focus energy and refocus energy into into a new area, into new growth, into getting new fans, into getting new trophies. This is part of a new trend. So, I mean, they're trying to do something good here, and this is the start of it. And hopefully, this is the start of something good, even though, and maybe a little bit better than the way the last Crest started off.
Yeah, they pushed that last Crest on us. Like, it just came out of nowhere. Just like, oh, here you go. Like,
I mean, this one was, the announcement today was kind of a bit of a blindside, but like, we already knew that it was coming anyway. I think I mentioned, actually, before the actual rebrand, that I actually did mention a couple of times, like, this is about to happen at some point, and I kept thinking, by that point I thought, oh, maybe it wasn't happening, and then they do it. So yeah, it definitely was just like completely blindsided everyone.
Yeah, I knew that they were going to be introducing it. I thought next month, having meetings with the front office. I didn't think it would be this fast. I think because maybe a certain somebody we both know kind of maybe leaked it.
Yep.
Well, he does help with a very good brewery, so I mean, can't be mad at him.
Yeah. He's always getting the inside scoop on something.
Hey, leave Merch Brobo alone.
No, I just wanted to do something like give me something like tangible, like who shot JFK? Come on, man.
I'm looking at this. Oh, go on.
No, I was like, all this getting the merch and the new kid is great. I'm like, but these are some questions I need answered. But no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So I mean, I'm looking at the idea that this was really kind of fan constructed now, which we didn't really get that idea or that gist, or behind the other crest. But they put out this graphic saying this crest was directly inspired by 225,000 plus words written via website submission, 500 plus hours of dedicated time via fan roundtables, 10,000 plus fan responses via social media. Over 10 countries were interested, 28 states, Chicago Fire fans in 28 states were interested. Over 77 Chicago neighborhoods took part in this, and over 152 cities in Illinois had a fan in it take part in this. That's pretty awesome.
I mean, I think that, like, it's kind of the result of that, though. I mean, the whole, there's the old saying about how the camel is a horse made by committee. You're gonna get something, and this isn't bad. It's not bad. It's just, like, not the best that they could have done. It's enough. I think it's enough to make people stop, like, complaining to the team at this point on random posts.
I think so.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we could just move on from this crest, this hideous crest, and get some tangible stuff like the on the field product and the fan experience. That'd be a lot better because you get tired of hearing about, oh, this ugly crest is going on. Oh, you still get this ugly crest. It's just like, man, I kind of just want to keep it just to keep it, but I'm glad we got something a little different now.
We finally fixed that bit. I mean, I think internally they should be like looking at, how can we make this even better than what it is? Because there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, but it's not going to be as big of a thing of like, okay, we need to do this now because everybody hates us right now.
Well, nobody's even really noticing them, and hopefully this can start getting them
Well,
to get noticed.
fans hating them.
Oh, well, yeah, internally
Although-
fans. Yeah, the 6,000 to 18,000 fans. But what's interesting to note is that once again we have a dead jersey in the sale, gonna be in the sales rack again.
Obviously, I'm getting it at the next locker room sale.
So
I want to get that.
Chicago Fire might as well just start putting these things out on sale right now, and then just start putting out the new jerseys. Jeremy McCullough of the Tribune reporting that the Chicago Fire have released a new crest that will be worn starting in the 2022 MLS season. And
Wait a second. Is the Columbus Crew wearing their new logo yet? Or no?
I do not know, but I saw their new logo being posted versus the Fire.
Because if they are using their new logo already, I mean, why wouldn't the Fire be able to be using this new logo anyway? Why isn't the
Why can't they just? I mean,
why isn't at least the Twitter account use the new logo right now?
Well, I'll ask you this: how hard is it to really pull up 24 new jerseys for these guys?
How hard is it to change your profile picture?
It's Adidas. It's Adidas. I know this for the fact that Adidas had to get final approval of this crest.
Mm-hmm.
So next year they will start implementing everything with Adidas, because I know that they're getting a new home kit, but they're keeping the white Lakeshore kit for next year. So, but they're getting the new home kit, which will be red. So that's the only thing that they're changing is a home kit.
Yeah, I think that goes in line with everything that's I think is official now. So I mean, but as I said, why haven't they changed their profile picture though? Because that's easy to do. That's the easiest thing to do. I actually do need to just check now if the Crew are already using their new logo on their kit, because they did it mid-season as well.
I don't know if they are. I highly doubt they are, because everything
They're not.
MLS, is Adidas. So Adidas, they already came up with their old kit, with their old crest. So they got to keep using that till next season.
But there is the same thing of, well, they have everything else changed right now. Like, they had an immediate switch. So yeah, it does feel like, I guess this was a bit rushed out specifically for today. They probably had it ready for next month. So we'll see how they fix things up that way then.
I mean, this is final, guys, right? I think this is final. I don't know if there's going to be any adjustments or tweaks, but I mean, there could be.
I mean, I think that like over the next decade, there's going to be some sort of tweaks to it.
Mm. Have you guys been watching any of the Euros or any of the other competitions?
Listening to it, because I've been working so much. Like, I listened to the England-Scotland game because I picked Scotland to surprise the world and win the whole thing.
I mean, they did. Old rivalry right there.
Yeah, that was nice listening to the English and the Scottish draw.
I gotta say, even though it was a 0-0 draw, it was not as boring as the I think it was the Sweden-Spain game.
I didn't watch anything today because I was working on I was working on watching some stuff for videos that I'm making. But Poland disappoints me, and they're gonna disappoint me again tomorrow.
I hope that they don't. That they definitely disappointed last game. Lewandowski just couldn't seem like he could get on the ball, and they just couldn't. And then the Krychowiak took a chintzy yellow on the first time. It barely
the first yellow was a bit.
It was not a yellow, and then the second yellow was, and he shouldn't have done. But all the same, it's just like the Polish. They always seem to find a way to muck it up. I don't know. It's something about them in tournaments. Because they got the quality, I think. But then there's other teams I think that have the quality too. Austria.
If you heard my the most recent episode of Sad Boys FC, the ancient Polish proverb of the first game is for points, second game is for everything, third game is for honor.
I did see you talk about that. Dan, who's been your team? England or what?
I think you meant Nick. I think you said Dan.
I said Workerman Nick.
Oh,
I'm thinking Twitter. I have Twitter in my mind.
Scotland.
Scotland?
Yes.
They got 1 point now, right?
Yeah, we got 1 point. That next game is going to be a doozy. It's going to be a must-win.
Croatia,
Get out of the,
I believe.
group stage. So
That's going to be a hard one. I believe you're playing Luka Modric.
yeah. But they're going to pull through. I think they're going to pull through. It's going to be like Iceland a couple of years ago. They're going to start shocking some people.
You guys got a chance. France looks really good. England looked better the other game. Today they looked a little lost, but I don't know if it's just because it's a derby with Scotland. Italy's been looking really, really good. Who else? Sweden actually played some really, really good defense. Spain was kind of disappointing. I'm like, you have all this firepower. Do something.
I think Spain is hitting a low between generations right now.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's a couple of countries, a couple of teams out there that are hitting their lows between generations, and that's what's allowing a lot of fun teams to be showing up right now.
Oh, Belgium is really fun. Netherlands has been fun. I've been liking some of these middle league
Netherlands?
teams. Yeah.
Netherlands?
Yeah.
You sure about that one?
What? What about them?
Frank de Boer.
They beat Austria. Ukraine's been fun to watch. Gareth Bale missed a penalty the other day, but that's still been fun to watch with him and Aaron Ramsey. Gareth Bale's been playing like deep lying playmaker for Wales. It's been odd, but it works. De Bruyne is insane. Lukaku. This has been a tournament of nines, of number 9. If you got a 9, unless you're Poland, but if you got a 9, you're in a good position. And I think it's because international football just tends to be rougher, more physical than it is maybe technical.
Yeah, they play prison rules in Europe. That's a rough game watching it in Europe sometimes.
But Frankowski made the field for Poland the other day, which was actually pretty promising to see.
He did okay. Honestly, I think he had more touches in that time than Lewandowski, which is disappointing.
I think
I said, disappointing.
And he came on after the 60-something minute too, I think. So
within that time frame.
Lewandowski was in like most of the game too. The other thing I noticed was that there was a couple other Fire players in international competitions. That was including Calvo. And over down in Paraguay is the...
No, Gaston has not played in Copa yet. I don't think so.
Is the ex-Argentinian man, Gaston Jimenez.
Gaston has not played in Copa, I don't believe.
Did you know he was born in Argentina?
Yeah.
And then...
He was there. He actually made the switch to Paraguay while he was with the Fire.
This has been a weird, funny season for big-time soccer moves. I mean, I noticed Ben Brereton moved from England to Chile. And then you had, one of the French players, Aymeric Laporte, who's a great center back, moves from France to Spain. It's been interesting. There's a Brazilian player over on Ukraine. It's been. I mean, I know this has been done before, but it's really interesting to see some of the big names like Aymeric Laporte somehow not getting the field in France. But of course, they're so deep. And yet being 27 years old and never having been called up for France.
That happens.
That tells you how good France is.
27 years old and a world-class center back, or not maybe a world-class, but very, very, very good center back. Can't make...
I mean, I want you to consider this from the women's game. Nick, do you remember Sofia Huerta?
A little bit, yeah.
So she started off actually she's from the U.S. I think she's from Idaho. Yeah, she was born in Boise, Idaho. But she has some sort of connection with Mexico, and she was able to play for the Mexican national team for a long time. And there's a lot of Americans who played for the Mexican national team for a while because they just didn't have enough space in the U.S. national team. The only reason why Huerta eventually switched over to the U.S. National team is because there was finally an opportunity for her, at least at right back. They don't have that opportunity anymore because they decided to move Mitch Purse there for some strange reason. Which, I mean, kind of same vibe of moving a forward to right back, except Mitch Purse is much better. But it's just the same sort of thing of just, if there's no opportunity, you're gonna try to find some way to do better. So while there was no opportunity with the U.S. national team, she was with Mexico, and then eventually made the one-time switch from Mexico to the U.S. when she realized, hey, I can make it in.
That's interesting. You guys want to switch it back to the Fire real quick before I start shutting this down? I want to bring up that Brady won USL League One Save of the Week. Already doing some work back in his loan up there in Forward, Minnesota.
I want him starting.
I mean, how do we fix the Chicago Fire goalkeeper situation? I mean, I don't really have faith in the current side.
Eventually. I think that, I mean, Bobby hasn't been that bad right now. At the moment, he hasn't been that bad.
Is the issue him? Is the issue Calvo, who produced very well during international times for for Costa Rica?
It's just, there's a lot of, I think it's just God hates the Fire, and that's it. I mean, it's kind of all you can get.
Yeah, I don't blame Shuttlesworth as much as I blame Calvo for a lot, because there was a lot of situations that Shuttlesworth was put in they wasn't supposed to be in because of that back line. And Calvo's the leader of that back line. And you're putting our goalkeeper in certain situations and they're not supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. So I blame more Calvo than Shuttlesworth. And talk about Brady, I was at the Fort Madison game last weekend when he made those saves. And I kind of was joking with him after the game. I was like, I need you to get this burlap sack so I can take you back to Chicago. And we'll just sit down.
Might as well.
Shuttlesworth.
I just love how funny, just like, I don't think a lot of Fire fans knew about Brady until he finally started playing for Forward Madison, but I remember that it was just a really boring week for Fire news, and we were trying to scramble for some sort of news for the Fire that week on the Sad Boys podcast, and we were just like, oh yeah, we signed this one homegrown, Chris Brady, and it's like, oh, that's such a generic name. We were just making fun of it, and then ended up with the idea of, oh yes, he's going to be the next great goalkeeper in the world. And you know what?
Yes.
He's doing pretty good. He's pretty dang good.
I give it. I think with him and Andre Reynolds up in Memphis, you give those guys here, next year, they'll be starting, and they're going to be something.
I actually want your opinion on this, because I remember during the preseason, they put Dre at left wing instead of at left back, and honestly, I thought he did fine there. What do you think about the possibility of him being played a bit forward more?
I'm not against it. I saw him, I only saw him play that one game off at left wing, and I thought he was pretty decent. If they're going to do that, he needs seasoning, which is, I think that's a good thing that he's up at Memphis, getting playing time at a higher level. Not like Forward Madison, not dissing Forward Madison or that.
They're League One, and I think Memphis is championships, right?
Yeah, they're two. Memphis is two. Forward Madison's, I think, 3. And the competition he's going to be facing up there, if that's something you want to do, they need to do that now. You want to put him at the wing. So, yeah. But he wasn't that bad at it, what I saw. So if that's the Fire wants to do that, they need to be not trying to tell Memphis how to coach him, but still put him out there. Memphis is like, no, we're good. Don't tell us what to do.
That's the important thing about having a USL team, and hopefully we're doing something about that.
It looks like a lot of what is it that MLS is doing something about that. They're trying to make a second league or a third league. I think a third tier league.
I think it's going to be like, wait a second. So it's MLS, then it's USL Champ, USL League 1, USL League 2, and I think they're going to be putting in a 5th league. I think that'd be the 5th league, which it's kind of bad news for Nisa because they're going to continue to just like push down and might eventually generate promotion relegation, but Nisa wouldn't be a part of that, which would be a bit disappointing. But
For Chicago House AFC.
and for the team that I actually do own a stake in, Detroit City.
Ooh, Detroit City too?
Detroit is also in Nisa.
I kind of like Nisa League. Lads, let's start shutting it down and let's have our final thoughts. Are you guys excited for this new Crest's future? Do you think that we're going to have a lot more wins under this than the last Crest?
Technically, yes. I mean, we only got 9 wins with the Fire Crown logo.
It's promising. All right, that's good. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, only thing to go is up. Can't go any farther down than this.
Well, can they go
We've
up
said
with
that before.
this? Can they go up with this coaching staff, lads?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I mean,
I think that's the larger question. I know that FC Cincinnati was kicking the tires of the Louisville FC coach, the Louisville City coach, recently, or at least that was floated on Twitter, and I thought maybe Chicago Fire were, but then I realized it was probably FC Cincinnati, who's also struggling with Stam, former Man United man, at the helm. I don't know how I think that you solved Chicago Fire woes by bringing in a new coach. I'm not sure that Wiki's the guy. I don't think that sticking with him.
I'm not sure if it's Wiki's fault though. I think it might more be Heights' fault with roster composition.
What do you think, Workerman?
I think it's more how the roster is drawn up, more than Wiki's skill, because there's a lot of issues, especially in that back line. That this team can't play defense and they can't score. So
The fact that our best defender is Wyatt Omsberg says something.
Yeah, and you only can move a certain amount of pieces on there, and you still got a big bowl of stock. So, it's the general managers. I wouldn't get rid of Wiki too closely, and also that goes into continuity. You're constantly getting rid of managers. It's just
Yeah, but have you really seen enough out of Wiki that makes you see oh yeah, this is the guy we got to build with? I haven't.
I'm just saying, for what I've seen and the pieces that we have, is if you improve this team, get better players, then we can make a really conjugal thought on Wiki. Because all I've seen is him try to retool broken toys, and it's not working. So unless you can get
Well, wait. So I gotta ask you this: who's retooling the broken toys? Is it Wiki, whose job it is, in my opinion, to retool the broken toys, or is it Heights, who's bringing in these broken toys to be retooled?
I think with the ready-made players that you have, I put it more on Heights. The thing I have against Wiki is he's not playing the young guys. That's why,
the Carlos Terrans and the Chinonso Ofors.
Well, Turan has been injured, but 04, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What about what's our right back that I'm really high on? That hasn't played yet because Sekulic has been playing decent. Or John? No, it's not. That's not John Duran. It's
Hurtado.
Hurtado.
I think no. I'm thinking of John Kennedy Hurtado. How did that name come back?
I was like,
How is that the name that came back to me? It's spelled the same John though.
I'll see it in two. Espinoza. It is John. It's a John Espinoza.
Yeah, get him on the field. Let's see what he's got.
I agree. We're seeing what we got from what's his face, Navarro.
Yeah.
Gutierrez has been fine. I think the only errors that I've seen of Gutierrez has just been awareness, not being fully comfortable with the speed of professional soccer, but otherwise he's been great.
You got to get these guys on the field anyway. You're supposed to be the building base of the future. You can't build them if they're sitting riding the pine pony. You got to get them out there. So, but he's still trying to play, because it is MLS and we're still not technically out of the playoff picture. even as we speak right now. But you need to get these guys on the field.
Yeah, especially with this last place, with us struggling so much, you just might as well see what you got in some of these other guys. If these other people that you have been starting are part of the starting lineup that's, led to this current set of results that's led to you being near to last place, what's the hurt in trying something else out? What's the hurt?
Make some big changes with like tactics too and strategy.
I
mean,
agree. Also, Gaston Jimenez, I think it's time to sit him.
It's time to sit Barrich. I want 04 on top.
04 on top? Might as well sit Barrich, even though he's your DP. What are you paying that DP money for? This is Heights.
My really dumb idea for strategy is to just have it like a hockey team where we just dump the puck. It's not route one. It's just dump the puck. And the two guys that are going to dig it out of the corners are going to be 04 and Collier. So start 04 and Collier up top. Because Collier may not be good, but he's gonna work real hard at getting that ball. So as long as you don't have him do anything else.
You got one thing right. He's good at being tall.
He's also good at trying hard.
I mean, Kenneth Kronholm was supposed to be starting for this team. I can't.
Oh, he hasn't played. He hasn't even practiced.
I know, and they act like, once he comes back, it'll all turn around for this goalkeeping group. No,
I think the main injuries that they're talking about that they claim are holding us back are Turan, who once again technically he might be ready, but I don't know yet, and Ivanov, who's still going to be out for a while now, and Nacho Aliseda, who, you know what, during preseason he looked a whole lot better than he did last year. Last year he was completely anonymous. During the preseason he looked like he was actually out there, and there were even some quotes from him saying he wasn't comfortable last season, and now he's here a bit more.
Did Nacho
so hopefully that's going to work out. Somewhere between like the preseason and the first game of the season, like he came on late in the first game and he hasn't really played since. And they say it's because of an injury. So I'm just going to stick with it that it is an injury.
So let's have a quick first third of the season assessment for the Chicago Fire players right before we sign off here, lads. Let's go with a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or neutral. Make it 3 grades, or do you guys want to go harder than that? A, B, C, D, E, F. Or A, B, C, D, F.
Let's go the letter grade.
All right, we'll go letter grades.
All right.
But then if you're going letter grades, it just means you got to be a little bit tougher with those gradings. So I'll start off. We're going in alphabetical order. We'll go. I'll say the name. We'll rattle off kind of our grades. If you want to have a quick explanation why, feel free to buttress it with it. Ignacio Aliseda.
C.
C minus.
Nothing up, nothing down. C.
I'm liking the C minus. I agree. I'll C minus. I like that call. And I can also see the C minus. Robert Barrich.
B. Wait, no, D. I'm sorry. I went the wrong way.
D minus.
D. Do you really? Okay, before I give my grade, do you really think that it's been Barrich's issue, who showed he could produce
He hasn't been finishing.
Or has it been
the thing with
the service
a lot
that
of
he's
people
been getting?
a lot of people use XG as a way of saying, oh, it's just bad luck. When I look at a player way underperforming their XG, that means that they're just not finishing. Mm-hmm. They are getting all these chances. That is raising this, mythical XG number. But if they can't actually score, then that means that they're failing at finishing.
Well,
and also if he gets these good chances.
Also, he's a DP.
Yeah, obviously.
So I think that adds weight. So that brings him into D territory. Yeah.
He does a lot of extra work in the attack, but we signed him to score goals, and he's not scoring goals.
Wow, that's brutal. So yeah, it does bring him into D territory. I'll agree with that assessment. Jonathan Bornstein.
C minus.
You can also we can kind of say with trepidation, like we've seen him. He's been C, average.
C. Yeah, C.
Like, he shouldn't be out there for as much as he is.
Mm-hmm. And we should be seeing more Navarro.
Should be seeing more Dre, but I mean, yeah, I guess.
And Andre, you guys were just talking about. Chris Brady will skip. Francisco Calvo.
F.
Ah,
Did you say F?
Yes, F.
Jiggly?
I give him a D because I don't think because the thing with him is that like he oh man, I think that there's going to be a few Red Stars fans that are going to hate me for saying this, but it reminds me of a much more polarized Sarah Gordon because there are moments where there is brilliance there, and there are moments where it's really bad. I've seen Sarah Gordon mess up so many times, but with Calvo, it's even more to those extremes. So you get even better moments from Calvo and even worse moments from Calvo. It's even more polarized than that. So I don't
agree.
really know. So I won't give him a passing grade because you can't excuse those horrible failures. But I don't know if I give him an F exactly because he does do some things really well sometimes.
Jiggly, before you finish your thought, I'll say I was vacillating between an F, a D, and a C. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's about where I was.
Because sometimes, you just said it, sometimes he's a C plus B player. And then sometimes he's the most frustrating player out there because I don't think he knows how to defend. I think he knows how to score. I think he should be playing center defensive mid. He's not a good defender. He barely knows he's great at intercepting the ball. But when it comes to sticking a foot and locking a person up with a stick, with your foot, and come up with that tackle, he just can't do it. I don't know what it is. Not at least in the final third. In the final third, he's always so timid. He's always turning his body, protecting his balls, and trying not to get hurt. And that's what I see every time in the final third. When he's not in the final third, Francisco Calvo is a B plus defender. When he's in the Chicago Fire's defensive third, he is a failure of a defender. He is an absolute failure.
Which is why we got to keep the puck out of the defensive zone. Keep the puck out of the defensive zone.
Also, I got to look at him as a captain. Is he a success as a captain? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, now that I think about it, if we're taking captain into account, yeah, I'll lower it to F.
Is he a success as a captain? I don't think so. However, I'm not in the room, so it's hard for me to truly be the judge of that. But what can I see from the outsider perspective is that it doesn't look good. It doesn't look promising. He doesn't seem like a captain that I would really want to fight for and play for. He might be a really good buddy to go out drinking with after the game, and also a good training mate. Like, he looks like he's got good passion and fire. Honestly, sometimes he's the best player on the field for the Chicago Fire right now without Georgi Mihailovic no longer being a part of the team. Sometimes he's one of the better players on the team. But that's what makes him so frustrating, is because he is such a pivotal figure. He is so dependent upon to be the captain, to be the linchpin in the defense. He can't be the linchpin in the defense because he's not good at defending. He's not good at tackling. I got to paraphrase that or rephrase that, because he is good at some parts of defense. I think some people have said it. He might make a better center defensive midfielder, but he just doesn't like to run. I don't know if that makes him lazy or what. There
are so many things that can be said about Calvo that honestly we can just keep going in circles about him and saying, is he good? Is he bad? It's like talking about whether or not Nicolas Cage is a good actor. We don't need to do it.
But that's what makes him a C and a D and an F, because he's all of those things in different games. He really is. And so I guess there's our if he's a C and a D and an F, that kind of makes him an F in my opinion, because the consistency is just not there. Although availability is a big part of the game, and he's always available, so that's another plus for Calvo. It makes him hard to grade, you know.
Nicolas Cage, move on.
Okay, Nicolas Cage. So I'll settle on with a D. I seem to be vacillating in between the FCD. Yeah, you guys said F.
Yeah.
I'll go D there, despite the weights, because it's for those reasons we just stated. Javier Casas Jr., I don't think we've seen enough of.
Yeah, he gets a very similar C to Ali Seda.
Incomplete. I haven't seen that much from him. So I got to give him an incomplete.
Incomplete.
Yeah. I mean, he did come in. He came in the second half of that DC United game for Gaston, and I do remember he wasn't like that good, but that was one half, you know.
So incomplete. Elliot Collier.
A for effort.
He's 26 years old. Jiggly. He's 26.
A for effort. He's our special little boy.
Okay.
But I think that in terms of just like actually what he's done, to be completely honest, I'd give him a B minus because he's the only guy willing to take players on. He's not good at it, but he's the only guy willing to do that. He's the only guy willing to try to make something happen in that attack. So, I mean, yeah, he's not good, but he's doing something, unlike a lot of other players in that attack.
C plus. Like I can see the effort. It's just the skill. I hate making this comparison. It's almost like he's Rudy Rudiger, but he's a little bit. Collier is a little bit more athletic. But I give him a C plus. Like at least he's trying to challenge and be out there. So.
I think you guys have painted very positive pictures for Elliot Collier, and I wish him luck on his next team. All the same, I give him a C. He's been better than quite a few of the other players. Like you guys said, he shows effort. He shows a certain je ne sais quoi that some Fires seem to be missing. And with his ability just to take a ball at a guy, I think he'll have much more success at the lower levels. And but all the same, I like that he's a bit of a Chicago guy, and I like your guys' grades on him. You guys were veering a little positive. I'll say a C. Just a flat C. No C minus because of that effort, because of the things he's offered.
I think it weighs up to a C plus.
Yeah, especially because of where he's actually supposed to be. This guy is supposed to be the bittest of bit role players. Like, he's supposed to be nuts and bolts. He's supposed to be a cone in the bag.
I've explained this to my mom. My mom followed the Jordan Bulls back in those days, and I explained Collier to her as he's Granville.
He's Judd Bushler.
He's Granville.
Granville?
Yeah. You know, the guy they put on at the end of games when they knew that it was won, so they were giving Jordan some time off. He's Granville.
Granville Waiters? I think that's who you're talking about. Former Bulls center Granville Waiters, who recently passed away. That's sad to hear.
Oh my God! When was he on the team? I remember that.
That's a name that I grew up in my house. I don't know who he is.
Dude,
I just know that
I love it.
That's the name that I always heard in my house when it came to like the person that they send on at the end of the game when they know it's won.
He was there early Jordan, 86 to 88.
Yeah, that was early Jordan, like with Dave Portine and Orlando Warren.
Yep.
Charles Oakley.
Charles Oakley was good.
Oakley was
yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, he was Michael and the Jordan said, Whoa.
If we want to turn into a Bulls history podcast right now, I am game.
That's just the name that like I always thought about, and I never knew who exactly he was. I just knew that that's the name. Like, it's Granville time when
Jiggly,
we're winning.
Awesome shout out.
Probably coached by Stan Allback. God
damn. Wow, that's awesome.
When we're done with this, we're all just gonna go and watch The Last Dance again.
So I'll bring us back to Chicago Fire. Although I'm loving the Bulls. Like I said, like if we could turn this to a Bulls, I am game. I'll go Bulls podcast hardcore right now. But
I lived through all of it.
I lived through. Yes. Wait.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even born.
So you lived through all of the Jordan years?
I lived through all the Jordan years.
Oh, that's so sick.
I saw him play live.
Yeah, so did I. I was also so I saw all 6 championships, but so I'm an '80s baby, so I saw most of them. But I missed the early '80s, late '80s rather, for Jordan's years, really.
That's why I said my mom followed the Bulls back during the Jordan era, because like my parents had season tickets and like the early Jordan eras.
So good.
Back when they were cheap before they got good.
Oh my God!
In Chicago Stadium in a nosebleed section.
I've been to Chicago Stadium for. I was at Chicago Stadium for a Blackhawks game. But I don't think I went for a Bulls game to Chicago Stadium. I went to United Center for Bulls. Chicago Stadium, I saw Blackhawks play. That was insane. I also saw Wayne Gretzky. Oh my God, that was awesome. By the way, we've seen some crazy players. Back to John Duran. We have not.
He hasn't played, but I mean, But I mean, thoughts on just like that signing in general as it comes in. Like, I think
Exciting.
there's been some reports from Colombia, or yeah, Colombia,
Yep.
of like how he's been doing that. Like, he's been fine. I've heard.
Workerman and Jiggly. He's been related as like a future what is it, Lukaku, and Lukaku's been tearing up the Euros. If John Duran, who's 6'3", currently weighs 161, he's 17 years old. If he turns into a Lukaku-esque striker, holy cow!
Well, yeah,
John Espinosa, we have not seen anything really out of. We have not seen him play.
yeah. I don't think we have. I think we saw a few minutes. Let me just
Maybe
check.
actually,
Football
maybe
Reference
we
real
did
quick.
see a few minutes. You're right. I think we actually maybe saw a few minutes, but yeah, he's played 44 minutes total.
Why am I looking at the top of the standings for a link to the Fire? Obviously, it's
We'll
bottom.
call that an incomplete. We
Uh,
know. We know that's
Yeah,
an incomplete.
47 minutes. He's only had like 2 more minutes than Casas. So
We'll call it incomplete, so we know that. But okay, guys, this one's hard. Przemysław Szemik Frankowski, our man from Poland.
I want to hear yours first, Nick.
Yeah, I gotta give him a seat. There's times where I think like he could do something, and then there's times where I watch him and he's nowhere near a play. It's like it's over at his side, but he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I'd give him a C too.
For me, there's times where I expect him to outclass the opponent, and he never does. That's
Yeah,
where I
like-
am with Frankowski. Like I'm expecting to see the reason why he's being called up into the Poland team. I'm
think I
expecting
said
to
this to
see
you before.
strength. I'm expecting to see some strength on the ball, or getting over the ball, or pushing his guy off. Some pace and some speed, and just a little bit of technical skill. You know, just maybe a good pass here and there, or a good find, or a good shot. But it took him forever to score. He couldn't find the back of the net for like forever. And the more I see
no
of him,
goal.
the more and more I get disappointed in Frankowski, at least currently.
Oh man, I just said something that reminded me of another Fire player that I realize is kind of has I have the same emotions about him, but I'm gonna mention that right after this, where I say, Shemek also has like 1.6 xG and 0 goals. So that's why I'd put him down to a
Maybe
C,
it's-
because
yeah.
he does a lot, but he wastes his chances.
Yes.
And we saw that quite a few times in some games. I know I have some stuff in my notes that I can drag out, but I don't want to deal with looking through my notebook. But he's had some chances and he's missed them. And I think that there's very much a thing of throughout the entire team of there's a lot of players who get chances and they just miss them. There's only one player who is outperforming their XG. And I think that for Shemek, the reason why he's getting called up to the national team, I think we talked about this the last time I was here, which was he doesn't have to do as much for the Polish national team. He's not expected to do as much. But for the Fire, he's got to be like one of the cornerstones of that attack. Like he's
you're
expected
right.
to be a major part of that attack. He's expected to do a whole lot more. And so having to have him do a whole lot more, he's going to do a whole lot less because he has to do more.
I agree with what you're saying.
He's got a bigger role.
He clearly can be dangerous. It's when you rely on him to be your most dangerous player. It's not work. It doesn't work.
The player that I was thinking of was one Luis Anangano, who that's a name that I don't think either of you have heard of for a very long time, but I think about him every day
That's ridiculous, Jiggly.
because
That's so funny.
because he always hit the post every single time. He took so many shots for the
that's
Fire,
infuriating.
and he always hit the post every single time.
Well,
He barely got any goals, but he always hit the post. And I kept thinking, next time he's gonna finally dial it in.
Let's let
And he never
Worker
dialed
Man.
it in.
Worker, we haven't offered a grade yet. What are you guys thinking?
I said C. I think Nick said C too, right?
Yeah, C minus.
C minus for.
I'd have given him a C plus.
See, Frankowski, I can go D sometimes because I'm just like he strikes me as like he should be a DP type of player, but he just doesn't show up that way. But all the same, maybe I'm expecting too much of him, and maybe these coaches also expect a little too much of him. Maybe he's more of a role player than he is a Khalil Mack, a star. And maybe as a role player he could be a bit more successful. When I think of crazy role player, I think of this this next player, or I mean, I'll get to him here in a few. But Fabian Herbers is just one of the ultimate role players.
He's a solid depth piece, and I think that he was miscast by Pauno.
Absolutely. I will get to him in a few here. But so Frankowski, I'll offer you guys have leaned me into a C category. He is getting called up. He is at the Euros. He did just see time with Lewandowski out there. I mean, what other players out there are really practicing sometimes with Robert Lewandowski every so often? I mean, that's pretty awesome to go hanging out with Basie Schweinsteiger one year, and then hanging out with Robert Lewandowski potting goals. That seems pretty fun, doesn't it? From a training perspective.
Absolutely.
So that means you guys convinced me go C minus there, just because I want more out of Frankowski. Now I think this one's going to be a little bit easier to grade, and we might be pretty harsh. Gaston Jimenez.
Last season he was a solid B, and this season he's a D to an F. Active liability.
Yeah, there's times I go this season, I went, what the hell are you doing? He looks like a chicken with his head cut off most of the time. So I'm going D.
I'm going to go D too because he's a designated player. He's supposed to be very, very important to the Chicago Fire side, but he's so lost out there. He just physically just doesn't look like he's able to do it in MLS physically. I don't think he's got the pace and the strength. I think he's got the technical skill and the brains to be an excellent soccer player, but he just lacks some of the things that you need to be a successful center defensive mid anchor in the MLS. He might, however, or at least for this team, maybe he works better on a different team, or maybe under a different coach, or with a different partner. But Gaston Jimenez, at the core of it, is not working out with the Chicago Fire. You said a B last season. I thought he was bad last season. I thought he was a C last season, and I don't give him a B. And this season, he's relied upon, and really we should be giving him an F. I mean, he's a failure. He's a failure as a DP. So I got to go F. I've just talked myself into it. We'll move on to Brian Gutierrez.
He's oh wait, Brian Gutierrez, he's got an A. He's like an A minus.
Yeah, I like that.
I give him a solid B plus.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think I only give him an A minus out of like comparison to the rest of the team. Like there's only two other players that I would give an A to on this team.
Okay, because we got to grade strictly, you're right. Both of you guys are right. I like that. I'm going to go with a solid B here. He's been he's been a surprise. He's 18 years old, and he's coming out there, and he's making some things happen for the Chicago Fire. I want to see him get a goal. Very exciting. Exciting future for him, I think. Fabian Herbers.
He is a solid depth piece. I don't know of any letter grade that reflects that, to be honest. He's a solid depth piece. I wouldn't start him on a normal MLS team. On a normal MLS team, he does not start. For the Fire, he starts. So I don't know how to really handle that. I guess like a C plus. But the thing is that like he gets used in the wrong way. When he was traded to the Fire, I think actually I was one of the only people on Twitter who when he was traded to the Fire who was saying like, oh yeah, he's pretty good. Everybody was asking like, well, how do you even know? Because I had actually like I remember scouting him in the draft, and I thought, oh, this is a solid attacking player. He can play on the wings. He can play like around the 10 role as like a 10 and as like a 9.5. You know, that kind of player that we somehow had like 20 of them on the team for some reason. But he can play in that area. But then Pauno decided to put him at central midfield, which is not where he plays, and he didn't do well, and everyone was annoyed by that because he wasn't playing in the right position.
I think he's played okay at some parts of central midfield sometimes. Like he's the glue that makes Wiki's roster.
Well, he can track back.
Like
that's the thing.
The only times that Wiki's lineups are really working are when he is in the lineup. When Fabian Herbers is in the lineup, that's when Wiki seems to have some success. I find him to be Wiki's talisman. I know you said that it's Collier. I find that's actually got to be Fabian Herbers. And for that reason, I'm gonna give him a B minus. He's reliable in a very, very awesome way. I like him.
Yeah, I give him a C plus. He seems like he's in a wrong position, but he's out there. Wiki stuff is working, which tells you maybe we should get rid of Wiki, but we C plus.
We'll say that. Stanislav.
I don't think he has a natural position. He's just a flex. That's it.
He played
He's a
winger
flex
in
player.
college. I think he played winger and striker.
Oh, yeah, he played winger in college, but I mean, if he doesn't look natural in that here, I mean, he's just a flex player. That's it.
He's a good soccer player. He's a good MLS soccer player. I think that he's an asset on any MLS team, like on any MLS team. Because if he's not on the Chicago Fire, I think he's on the bench of another MLS team. And I think he's good enough to be a really good bench player on any MLS team.
If I were building an MLS team within the cap of if I had the choice of any MLS player, he would be on the bench if I had to build within the cap.
I'd certainly consider him. I don't know if I'd lock him in. I'd have to see everybody else too. You gotta weigh everybody.
Well, yeah,
that's the hometown bias. Let's move on. Because I want to. We're getting close here. Start getting close to wrap this up. We'll start rattle through these. Stanislav Ivanov. We haven't finished. We haven't seen anything. He's injured. Johan Kappelhoff.
This season, he's a D.
I call him a C. C minus.
Honestly, there's been a couple of games where he's actually been worse than Calvo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. D.
I was being a little less harsh on him, but you guys convinced me it would go D. Kenneth Kronholm, incomplete. We haven't seen him injured, but
he's
overall,
an F already.
He's an F. He's just an F.
He's just an F. Yeah.
Workerman. Your thoughts on Kronholm, real quick?
His age is what worries me. His age.
35 years old.
And you're this hurt. It's just like might have to cut him loose at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
And he's being paid that much too.
Save the money. Alvaro Madron.
C, just a solid C.
Yeah.
There's been times where he's been like solid and okay for us, and there's been times where, it's been very similar to Gaston, but he hasn't had the horrible moments that Gaston has had, and he also hasn't had like any really good moments.
Yeah, I give it a solid C. Same observation, I see it.
I'm leaning a little harsher, go C minus, but I could see why we could push up to a solid C for him. Now I'm gonna go C minus. I'm gonna go a little harsher on him just because I want more out of the former Real Madrid trainee. Alex Moni, I don't think we've seen enough. Miguel Angel Navarro, I think he's been doing kind of okay. What is our assessment here for Miguel Navarro, left back?
I just remember the one time he got like a really, really hard yellow card, almost a red, for like a studs up on some other player's thigh, and I was like, yes, I like this guy now.
Can you guys see what I'm seeing? Like, the next few names. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back in a minute.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So what do you think about Navarro? Because I don't have a letter grade.
Navarro. I'll tell you this right before I wrote it. Navarro's been kind of hard to grade. He's been kind of just fitting in there, so maybe just a C. And then I see 04 and Ohmsberg Pineda next. I'll be right back.
Navarro, when he's on the field, I really don't see. He doesn't pop out to me, which is somewhat okay for his position. Like,
he's been in some good plays.
Yeah, he had some good plays. Nothing too bad out of him. I haven't seen any major F-ups. So I would say solid C.
Yeah, I'll give it that. I guess the next name on here is the fun one for me is Chinonso 04, the Latvian goal scoring legend. Because I honestly I've loved the way he's played. I think he's been played out of position, but I think that he's done really well. I can't give him an A because he hasn't really done much actually, but what I've seen from him when he is playing where he should be, he's done well. So I'd give him like a B plus.
Yeah, I give him a B too. I think I hate to steal from someone else's sport, but Jim Ross in wrestling, he's a glue chipper.
Yeah,
He's a glue chipper. You got to find him in the right position. What I've seen out of him, I've seen hustle, I've seen athleticism out of him. You gotta give him the ball in the right position so he can score.
The first 15 minutes, like the one moment of the season where the Fire looked really good, though, that first 15 minutes of the first game, that was a lot about him. He did a whole lot at holding up the ball and making sure that the play could develop behind him. So that's why I'm like, I want the Fire to be playing like a hockey team, get the puck into the offensive zone and have a four hold it up and let play develop around him.
Yeah, and I think that could work with him. He needs to get out there. He needs to adjust to the MLS game a little bit more. Once he does, I think you put him in the right position. That guy is literally Patrick Kane. No, not Patrick Kane. Jonathan Hayes out there probably be a good equivalent if he reaches his potential. So yeah, I give him a solid B. I'm liking him. I want him to play more.
Yeah, I would prefer him to start. I mean, we're gonna see Barrett start on Saturday, but I'd prefer to see 04 start at striker there. So
do you guys?
Wyatt
I got a
Omsberg.
quick. Before we go there, I got a quick question for you. Do you guys think Chinonso 04 eventually might get a Nigeria cap?
Eventually, yeah, he's young, so I mean, eventually.
I feel he's good enough.
Yeah, but Nigeria sometimes they get, so yeah.
I'm excited for this guy's career, and he's also got John Duran coming up behind him too. That's going to push him. So I'm excited for Chinonso 04. Like you Jiggly, you were saying Wyatt Omsberg's next.
Yeah, Wyatt Omsberg's next. Because I think that, honestly, Omsberg has been the best the best at defense. Not the best defender specifically, but the best at defense,
Yeah.
which is about as scary as having Collier be our best attacker.
Oh my God, it's so true.
Omsberg is very similar to Herbers, where like I scouted him for the draft and I thought, you know what, he's pretty okay. And I mean, he's a discount Jonathan Campbell to me, honestly. Like he's fine. Not gonna make any big waves.
I'll go C for Omsberg.
Yeah, like a C plus, B minus. Like he hasn't done anything. Well, I mean, I have seen one very specific play where he's done something terrible, but I mean, one out of like a solid amount of minutes, basically making sure that Calvo doesn't do anything too stupid, which is weird because Calvo's supposed to be the captain.
Yeah, I give him a C. I give him a C.
He's been okay. Mauricio Pineda.
I need him to be playing more. When he's played in defense, I've honestly been a whole lot less impressed with him in defense than I was last season.
Agreed.
But when he was playing at holding mid instead of Gaston, I forgot what game that was. It was after the DC game. Wait a second. I can just scroll down here. He started at holding mid against Inter Miami, and that was the one game we won. So I think that I'd rather see Pineda start out there instead of Gaston. As a defender, I would put him as a D. As a holding midfielder, I'd put him at a B minus or a C plus.
Wow, guys, the thing that you guys, this portrait that I just keep painting myself here as we go through these grades, I'm just like, these DPs have been busts and disappointments, and Heights has just really put Wiki in a corner here with some of these disappointing players, and he had to go find diamonds in the rough like Mauricio Pineda.
I mean, we already had him coming in anyway. It's been a long time coming.
But I mean, he got lucky on some of these guys.
I remember being in high school talking to someone trying to figure out, like within the academy, figuring out if he was going to sign yet when I was still in high school.
So Mauricio Pineda, did we give him a grade?
Yeah, I said B minus.
Yeah, B minus. I'll give him B minus.
I could go C plus because I want more out of him, and he did play defense, and it wasn't that great. Andre Reynolds II hasn't played enough for the Fire. Incomplete. Alan Rodriguez hasn't really played. Boris Sekulic.
A.
A.
He's the other A that I
Wow.
have.
Wow, he's the only A you have?
Well, the other A.
Oh, the other A.
I have another A.
Oh, you have another A.
That's coming up.
Oh, yeah, I see it. I see
Who was the other one that I had?
I see it.
I-
We haven't said him yet. We haven't said
No,
him yet.
I forgot who I said the first one because I said I had 3 of them, and I forgot who I said the first one was. But yeah, Sekulic is the second one so far.
Let me run through who it could have been. It was nobody. No, you didn't give anybody an A. You had 2 A's to give out. Boris Sekulic, what do you think, Worker Man?
I'll give him a B.
I like that B.
What I've seen out of him. I'll
Yeah.
give him a B, yeah.
I like that
His
B you're
attacking
giving
play
him.
has been amazing. He's been a better attacker than a lot of our attackers.
He's been one of the better players on the Fire this season. Stepping up.
He's been the most consistent too.
True.
The other guy that I have with an A, like he's had some rough games, but
Especially
I don't think
'cause
I've seen Boris play bad the entire season.
And we looked at him last year. We had the microscope on him last year a few times. But you know what? Maybe you guys push me B+. I'll go B+ for Boris Sekulic. Bobby Shuttleworth.
He is a C. I think that the best way to describe him is very similar to the way we've described the logo. It is what it is. Like he's not terrible. He hasn't had the opportunity to be terrible except for like 1 goal against Atlanta. But other than that, he hasn't been called into question because it's mostly been on the defense for all the goals. Even though I do have some like metric stats that say like, oh, he hasn't been very good, but So yeah, solid C.
Workerman.
If the Fire's back line was better, I wouldn't mind Shuttlesworth being back. Because what I've seen out of him, he's in any other team, he'd be all right being their goalkeeper. This team, not everything is fun. I give him a C minus. But yeah, that back line needs to be better.
I'm with you, Nick. I give that a C-. I think Bobby Shuttleworth, on some teams, he is a backup keeper on all teams. And he is not a starting keeper on any team.
Yeah.
And yet he's a C- because he does fill that role for us. Nicholas Lena, did he play a game or
He has not played, but there's like some weird intrigue about him in that like he's been on the COVID protocol list for over a month now, I think.
That's harsh.
So
and his
or
brother
at least he's
Gabriel.
been out with an illness.
And he has his little brother Gabriel Selena, who's taller.
Yeah, he hasn't played either. So I mean, nothing about that.
And then we'll move on to possibly your other big time grade, Luka Stojanovic.
He gets an A, or at least I think I'd give him more of an A- because, as I said, there's been some games where he hasn't done much, but yeah, A-. He's outperforming himself. He's outperforming his XG. He has been the most dynamic player in the attack. Well, I mean, I said that Collier's been the most dynamic player in the attack, but I mean, the guy who actually is supposed to be doing something and is playing up to the level that he should be is Stojanovic.
Yeah, I would go A- also. When again, there's a couple of games he was just nowhere to be found. But when he's in there, his energy is high, and especially that Miami game, and especially the way Miami played, it looked like 20 minutes into the first half, Miami just went, we're done. I don't want to play no more. And too bad the Fire was also going, we don't want to play anymore either, other than Luka. So I'll go A-.
You guys convinced me. I will go B+ for the player who's probably been arguably Chicago Fire's best player this season, Luka Stojanovic, even though he's only played a handful of games for them. He's still coming back from injury. So I'll go B+ there. And we'll finally end with the final player, Carlos Terán, who
has not played a single minute. No,
he hasn't gotten any
he has
minutes
not.
either. He got 14 minutes last year.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Terán,
I think he warmed up once this season. He was about to go on, and then he didn't go on.
Incomplete.
He was about to.
Guys, I greatly appreciate you guys taking the time here to talk a little Chicago Fire with me, Spitting Fire YT. Smash that like button for Workerman, Nick, and for Jiggly coming on. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time. Final thoughts here, boys.
Well, I want this team to be better, and on the field and off the field, and hopefully these next, especially this Columbus game, get a win. But if anyone, because I'm still the chair for this section A, if you want to get together with a bunch of people and watch the game, we're having a watch party at Cleo's tomorrow, 7 o'clock start game. If you want to watch live soccer, the Red Stars are playing tomorrow at the same time. At SeatGeek and Blackfire is hosting a tailgate before the game. They start around 4:30, 5 o'clock. They'll have black-owned businesses, because tomorrow is Juneteenth. Black-owned businesses be catered by a black-owned business. I can't tell you the place, but it's going to be real good food. They'll end up putting you to sleep after the game. And even before that, you want to watch live soccer, because there'll be a caravan going from the Fire pitch at 1 p.m. It'll be Edgewater Castle versus DeKalb United at the Fire pitch at 1 p.m. And afterwards, we'll caravan over to SeatGeek to watch the Red Stars. So there's plenty of things to do on Juneteenth tomorrow. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for letting us know about. I have all these details in our description as well, of your guys' details and your Twitter profiles in the description as well for the YouTube video. As always, we are on Google and YouTube and iTunes and Spotify and all the big podcast things out there. Thank you for Jiggly for joining us. Thank you for Workerman, Nick. And I'll have there's information in there. As always, try and support Chicago Fire. Greatly appreciate you guys smashing that like button. Greatly helps it trick the YouTube algorithms into letting people know that Chicago Fire is an awesome thing to talk about and go have fun with. Guys, it was awesome talking Fire with you guys. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time. I'm excited for this new crest.
Yes.
I'm excited for not having to talk about the Fire Crown anymore.
Yes, that's a huge.
I think that's the biggest thing about this. My last thing to say is Japan's going to win the Olympics.
Ooh.
Okay, the women's soccer Olympics.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited. That's awesome. I'm liking it, guys. I'm liking the change. Thank you for joining us. Excited. We'll see how Japan does. But you know me. I'm gonna go for our good old United States of America. Check out Workerman Nick and what is it? Section 8's Twitter stuff for all the Juneteenth kind of stuff that he was talking about just now. Yeah. And awesome, dude. I'll have all that kind of stuff in the description. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time. We'll have you guys on again. And for another Spitting Fire YT, we'll catch you guys next time. Like and subscribe for more. All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, brothers. I'll catch you guys later.
All right. Take it easy, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Later.
And and we'll try to figure out how to have me permissions, and I'll figure out stuff for you.
I'll get you set up on that too. Yeah. Awesome, dude. All right, brothers and sisters. Fired up footballers. We'll see you guys later.
Are we off yet?
Just a second.